Yeah.
Fantastic, great. Kindly pick up. Karibu sana, Dr. Obiero. Karibu.
Hello. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Obiero. Um, and I really want to first start by saying that we appreciate for the space and the opportunity for the doctors and even the patients and the people of Nakuru to gather and share. Thank you so much, Dr. Rotich. So I'm just a medical officer who has just finished internship. Still unemployed, but happy we've been working together with Dr. Rotich. And we are hoping that the few challenges, the issue of unemployment, especially among the doctors, the issue of the low camp rates, maybe we get to talk about it. And maybe lastly, the issue of the internship that we noted today has been postponed till further notice. So I was really interested in taking note of that so that for the benefit of our junior doctors who are under our umbrella. Thank you so much, Dr.
Before you go, Dr. Obiero,
Yes.
you can share with us the experience you had at Nakuru PGH. You call it now Nakuru County Referral Hospital. As an intern, the challenges you experienced.
Okay. So maybe just briefly, I was an intern there just last year till around July. That's when I finished, and I was the intern representative. It was a fair share of good and bad, but generally we were able to pull through the help of the union and with the help of God. So basically, there was the internship was smooth, the rotation was good, and even the consultants there, I can say, unlike what I've noticed from whatever has been going on, the consultants at Nakuru PGH are good. They can give an intern a chance to. They can give the interns a second chance, especially maybe if you're not doing well in the wards, maybe you're having an issue with the knowing of patients and maybe doing the shifts. So they can even give you a chance to go and rest if you have worked for more than 24 hours. They are very understanding. I didn't notice any toxicity among the consultants. Even the registrars were good. And normally when you do the pre-rounds with the registrars, they're able to help you understand what the consultants need so that when the major round starts, it's an easy cruise. Yeah, so basically that is it. The only issue we had, which is a major concern, is the rotation in internal medicine, whereby we had a challenge of very few consultants, physicians. I remember there's a time we had just two consultants and one left for the leave. So the whole of the rotation just had one intern. And okay, I had a benefit of rotating the whole of my rotation. I had a supervisor, but there are some of my colleagues who never had a supervisor in internship with me. The only supervisor that was there was a medical officer. So it's a major concern in the internal medicine, but the surgery department has enough consultant, and same to obstetric and gynecology. So there's a lot of learning that went on, and um, we had issues. I think there was a time we had an issue where one of our intern lost life. Unfortunately, it's something that gave us. It was a setback to the fraternity of the medical fraternity, but through working together with the KMA, the senior doctors, the county, and especially the union, we were able to go through that difficult time. We still have not been able to establish what happened, but I do believe that justice will come at some point. Yeah, and the issues that were there at that point, we had cited the issue of security, the issue of the interns not being able to get enough housing, and security in terms of issue of CCTV. The most of the things, lightings have been put everywhere right now, and those
Um, Dr. I think we are losing you. Dr. Obiero, I think we are losing you. Dr.
yes,
Obiero, are you back?
yes.
Dr. Rich, can you hear Dr. Obiero? Ama ni kwangu?
I'm not able to hear him. Dr. Obiero, we can't get you clearly.
Okay, Dr. Obiero, now you're back. Please proceed and give your submission. I think we have a problem with Dr. Obiero's connection. Not to worry. Dr. Obiero, if you can hear me, can you kindly unmute your mic and proceed?
Can you hear me now?
Proceed. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you. Proceed.
Okay. So I was actually even finishing. I was just saying that difficult time taught us a lot, and even the hospital learned now to manage the welfare of the workers there, the interns, the consultants, and everyone that was there. So right now, most of the things that we had asked for, the security has been improved, and most of the things like we had requested, or even the housing, we have enough housing for the interns. I think there are just few interns who are not able to get houses in the facility, but most of them, through the union, they are now sorted and they have enough housing, and they have very good support from the registrars. I even noticed there was a time we had challenges because most of the time, most of this learning, especially in surgery department, it comes from the registrars. So and they also had their own challenges, which the union also tried to sort, the issue of payment and working hours. I think it's something that was sorted partly, and it seems still being followed up by the union. So it allowed the registrars to come back and continue teaching us. So I think I really had a good experience with Nakuru PGH, except for that really bad moment that happened. And so far, I believe that whatever has yet to be done will be done pole pole through the work of the union and the county and even the liaison committee of the South Rift. Yeah, so thank you so much. I think I don't have anything to say, but I do believe we had a fair share of internship, and it was generally a good experience. And we are hoping to get absorbed, get job, and continue pursuing our career and helping our patients in Nakuru. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Obiero, and the very best as you start your career as a medical doctor. Much appreciated. Your comments are quite enriching. You've highlighted the issue.
Back to you, Dr. Rotich.
Oh, yes.
And Chege.
Can you hear me? Thank you. So I was saying, Dr. Obiero, thank you for the positive comments you've given. And the very best as you start your career as a medical doctor. You've highlighted a few challenges that you encountered as your group. I remember you were the representative. So you've highlighted the challenges at the internal medicine department and security affecting you as interns, taking us back to when we lost one of our colleagues under unclear circumstances. His soul rest in peace. So those are the main challenges you've highlighted, and I hope we will be able to find solutions going forward. Thank you, Dr. Obiero. So I'm getting...
Dr. Rotich, allow me to interject on that issue, and because it's a very serious issue, and because I can see Waziri is here. Waziri, karibu sana. I've sent you an invite. I know you are trying to connect, don't worry, hang on. Very soon you'll be amongst the speakers or even a co-host. That's what I'm trying to do so that we can get you here so that you're able to respond to the queries and be able to connect with the people of Nakuru County because these are the people who you are working for. But Waziri, we need a response on the issue of that investigation. What happened to that medical officer who was unfortunately found, his body was found very early in the morning at the Nakuru PGH, and he had lost his life. I think we need to close that issue as well, in as much as we are also mourning the death of Dr. Mora. Back to you, Dr. Rotich.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. Because of time, the state of healthcare workers. So my name is Cynthia Modoni. Previously a healthcare worker, but a non-medical. And I was in the private sector, private hospital, and the challenges I saw.
Yes, Cynthia, we can hear you. Proceed. Karibu sana. Is it just me, or can anyone hear Cynthia?
I can't hear her either.
I think Cynthia has a problem with the mic. As Cynthia tries to fix her mic, can we hear from another speaker? Toria, karibu sana Toria, good to see you. Welcome, welcome to our space. Toria.
Oh my God. Let me just listen before I contribute.
Sawa, no worries, sawa, karibu sana. Daktari, I know you are trying to get a few speakers on board. Cynthia, are you back? Cynthia, can you hear us? If you can, please unmute.
Yeah, I can hear
Asante,
you.
karibu sana.
Thank you. So, question, are these solutions on all healthcare workers, or it's limited to public healthcare workers? Because also the private sector has the same challenges now that we have fewer health facilities in Nakuru County, and the numbers are growing really fast. Nakuru is in the center of the country. It's a transit. Everyone passes through Nakuru to go to a different.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. Dr. Rotich, proceed.
Cynthia, yes, comments from the private sector as well. Welcome, because we are a team. We work together. So we welcome your comments and challenges that you experience in the private sector as well, because solutions have to be found to challenges at wherever place you're working. So go ahead, Cynthia. And just to let us, we do not restrict the inputs to only doctors. Even if we have intern nurses, pharmacists, and any other medic that is present in here.
Absolutely, Dr. Rotich, I agree with you. We are not restricting this conversation to only doctors, nurses, and those who are working very closely in the medical fraternity. This is a conversation that is welcome for everyone, every resident of Nakuru County, and I'm sure everyone in the country, because the issues that are affecting a medical health worker in Nakuru County would ideally be the same issue that will affect any other, apart from those very specific issues. So I think we welcome the conversation. We want to encourage all of you to come out. Please, kujeni mtuambie, what are you going through? What is happening in the ground? Situation ni nini? But Dr. Rotich, even as we have this discussion as we mourn a very young doctor, let me speak as a parent. and I have a Gen Z in the house. And even though they are very young, probably 13-year, 14-year-olds, these are the last batch of the Gen Zs. But as a parent, I am concerned because growing up, I'm not a doctor myself, but growing up, achieving those exceptional academic results, ndio upate A minus, you are something else in the village, and everyone will revere you. Every parent will talk about you. Everyone will talk about how you are supposed to fit in and be able to carry yourself and work hard as so and so, because they are the ones who get the A's and the A minuses. Every single student who is working hard, transniting, burning the midnight oil to get that A or A minus, they are doing this so that they can end up in the med school. And this is a fact. I did become in Nairobi Uni, but was our med school walikuwa wanaturingia. I don't know whether yellow flow is still there. Mnakumbuka yellow flow? Watu wa med school walikuwa wanaturingia. Getting to med school was something that would put you on that level of achievement as a young person. And I am not sure that is the same thing that is happening today, because if this is how we are treating the people who achieved academically, if this is the landing spot of those who successfully managed to come through the educational system in Kenya, and for them to begin their career at a very young age as doctors, having gone through a very difficult curriculum as well. 6 years, shule, Chiromo, I think bado wako Chiromo, I think back then they used to be in Chiromo. Alafu, ukikuja upate job gava, unaandikwa job, you are not sure, your future is bleak, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, you are supposed to be paid, you are not even sure how much you are supposed to be paid to begin with. That salary is late by 6, 3, 4 months. It pains parents. And as parents, and I think at this point, Waziri, I think you will be having the mic right now. I really want to hear from you. Where are we as a nation? Where are we as parents? What do we do with our children who want to work hard and join the medical fraternity? What do we do with our children who want to become doctors? Yet, this is what the government is giving them. And yet, all the government is saying is, tutawapea majob maju. Mtaenda German, mtaenda sijui wapi. So what, come on, we need to have this conversation. Waziri, I'm going to send you another request to respond to these issues. As we do that, Steve, our data analyst, can you quickly just tell us, what was the budget for Nakuru County? How much came from the office of the executive? Governor alitoa chapa ngapi kupeana kwa the health department? And then maybe later we can discuss at how this money has been spent or is planning to be spent. Steve, karibu.
Asante. Thank you, Dennis. Now, I want to walk you through the recurrent budget allocation for 2022-2023 versus 2023-2024. Yeah, for health services. So in 2022-2023, the recurrent budget allocation was 6 billion. In 2023-2024, it went up by 4% to 6.3 billion. And then when I checked now for this year, the recurrent budget allocation for 2024-2025 has gone up again to 6.9 billion. Yeah, so there is an increase. There's an increase of about 9% for our current financial year, 2024-2025. Now, when it comes to recurrent expenditure, yeah, for 2022-2023, it was 5.3 billion was spent on recurrent expenditure, and on 2023-2024, 5.9 billion was spent. So there was an increase of 600 million over the period. Yeah, and bear in mind that based on the records that I've seen today, Nakuru has 17 hospitals. That's quite a big number. It has 17 hospitals. Something else I would like to look at is the fact that Nakuru County has very high recurrent pending bills. Just a minute, let me look at that.
Steve, as you look at that, there's something that you've said that is making me a little bit curious. Why do you sound surprised that Nakuru County has 17 hospitals? What do you mean by hospitals?
Okay. Well, I'm not surprised. It's just that it now tells us that if this is the recurrent expenditure that was given, yeah, and there are staff who are not getting paid, it has such a ripple effect across the entire county and neighboring counties. Yeah. And then another thing which I wanted to highlight is that I was doing some research for Nyandarua, and I was being told how they procure medical equipment, very expensive medical equipment, CT scans and X-rays and all that. But when they come, they are lying idle because they just did the equipment procurement, but they did not bring or did not train anyone to use them. Yeah, and this is because of what they get when they do the procurement. So again, I would like to ask. That's something. That's I think a question that would go to Waziri when they procure, because I've seen there's a good portion for this year. It's about 48% that goes to medical services and equipment. Yeah. So for that equipment that they are getting, is it coming with staff who are trained to use it, or are there staff that are going to be trained to use it? Yeah, because we also had a similar situation yesterday at Embu level 5 referral, where the CEC was telling us how the CT scan broke down. It had been broken down for the last 25 days as of yesterday, and they were still trying to get the part that they needed. So another thing is it, you should not, the idea is not to have just one, if it's a CT scan, for example, not to just have one machine, but to have also a backup, because there are implications when a machine breaks down, yeah, for a period, because there's an implication on the cost of the life's cost and the cost to the hospital and to the taxpayer as a whole. So is that usually factored in when doing this kind of procurement? Yeah. So that's how I was looking at it, Dennis, when I say in hospitals.
Thank you very much, Steve. Steve is our data analyst. We have engaged researchers as well as we do this kind of civic education. We don't just want to raise emotions of the people. We want to discuss issues that we can be able to provide solutions to as well. And that's why we have researchers and data analysts like Steve who have joined us. And asante sana, Steve. And Steve, I want you to look at something else as you look at your data, as you give other speakers that. I want you to tell us, what has the county government done to improve in terms of, should we say, employment or improvement on the human resource for healthcare, for the health department. Waziri, I've sent you another invite. I'd really like to hear from you, Waziri. I think yes, Waziri, if you're able to leave and come back so that I can send you again, please. I really need you to have the mic as well, because there's a lot of issues like what Steve has said as well. What does equipping entail? Is it just equipment, or it's equipment with the staff as well? Because something else that people need to understand, as we do civic education and understand how government works, and I'm sure Dr. Rotich will agree with some of us, is that we need to understand how funding is done on these projects. I believe that we do not just need to build infrastructure for the healthcare, but we also need to have proper, personnel, doctors, nurses, people in the medical industry who are working there. We need to have them equipped as well. So these are the questions you are asking. What does equipping mean? Is it just the infrastructure, the hardware? Is it human resource? Please, we would like to hear from you as well. And Dr. Rotich, I want to come back to you. In as much as we are talking about the institution of the healthcare, let us not forget those who work in these departments. I'm aware that the medical interns who have been paid according to the CBA by the KMPDU and the government, is that those who have been properly paid were there 2 years ago. That means for the last 2 years, we have a new batch of medical interns who have not been paid according to the CBA, who wait for their salaries. Remember, the death of Dr. Mora reminds us that we're here tonight, and she left a suicide note. And in one of the things she mentioned was, working for over 3-hour shifts. Basically the mismanagement in the whole system. And as I was preparing to host this space, I spoke to a few doctors, and most of them are telling me they know ni kawaida. Unashangaa nini? Working for 3 hours ni kawaida. And I'm here left one
72 hours continuous shift, not 3 hours.
Please.
That is 3 days and 3 nights.
Dr. Rotich, can you just please explain that? What do we mean when we say, what is a shift? Can you explain to members who are listening tonight, what is a shift? What happens during a shift? Because what I learned from my fellow doctors, my fellow friends who are, sorry, I'm not a doctor, for my friends who are doctors and my circle, is that even after you finish your shift, by the time you're handing over, that is another 8 hours or even 12 hours for just handing over. So can you kindly just take us through very quickly what a shift entails? What is the normal working hours for a normal doctor, a medical intern as well, and for these specialized doctors as well? Let the people understand, because we are really in a crisis and we have to sort this out. And I'm sure, Dr. Rose, you agree with me as well, as you try to fix your mic. Karibu sana, Dr. Rotich.
All right. So let me break it down to the simplest explanation. So I am a medical intern doing my rotation in, let's say, obstetrics and gynecology. That is a rotation that deals with, issues around women delivering and such like issues. So let's begin my day at 8 a.m. in the morning. So you report to work at 8 a.m. But most of the time it's even earlier, because you have to do pre-rounds, what we call pre-rounds. You have to see patients alone, so that when you're doing the major round with your seniors, the medical officers and the consultants, you know what is happening with the patients. So let's begin our day at 8 a.m. So you do around Around means you see each and every patient, you discuss the case, and you advance their management by changing treatment and at times prescribing an intervention like, for example, cesarean section. So that normally lasts to around midday, then to 1 p.m. thereabouts. So once you finish, you dash for a lunch. After that, you resume for the afternoon session, where most of the time you now perform the emergencies. You now implement the plans for the various patients. It could be drawing blood for investigations. It could be performing the cesarean sections, and that can spill over to the night. So let's say we have 3 cesarean sections and you perform them up to 7:30 p.m. So at this 7:30 p.m., you are also required to still cover the hospital because you are on call. So you usiku yote, you're the one to respond to all emergencies. And remember that an intern is on the first line of response in our hierarchy of the medical fraternity. So the intern will respond to any emergency at any time of the night. So you do your call up to that 8 a.m. tomorrow now. So let's say the night was busy and you do 4 cesarean sections. You finish your last case at around 6 a.m. with the assistance of your senior, a medical officer or a registrar. After that, you dash, you take a shower, and you maybe take a nap. But taking a nap won't be a good idea because you're supposed to do another round for this other new day. So that's already a 24-hour shift without any sleep, any rest, nothing. And that goes on for 3 nights. In most cases, I'm sure most of the doctors here can confess to that. There are times you find yourself doing 3 days and 3 nights of just walking continuously without any rest, particularly if you're alone in that department, or if you are 2. Those who are more than 2 are lucky because they'll be having 1 person resting at a given point. And this was the case with Mora. Mora could not find any time to rest, any time to even take proper food. And it's quite a sad situation. So that is basically the life of an intern. So you are on call throughout for 1 year. I will let Doctor probably add to what I've said. Dr. Obiero, if you're still able to unmute, you can add a comment just to clarify more on what we mean by an intern being overworked. So this is a system that has been perpetrated over time. Remember that in the past we had very few doctors. So this is a system that has been transcended from the various generations of doctors. That an intern does the donkey work in the hospital and they don't deserve any rest. But I think that needs to change. In fact, going forward, we need interns to do strictly 40 hours per week, where they report to work at 8 a.m. and they leave at 5. And if they are doing night duty, they report at, if it is 6 p.m., they do 8 hours and they go home, and another person should cover the rest of the 8 hours.
But Doc,
their lives are more important than the shifts that they do.
Doc, let me ask you, how practical is this? You are just saying, how practical is this? There's a reason why medical interns are being overworked. We clearly have a problem with understaffing in our healthcare system. We have a problem with mismanagement of the healthcare system. So when you say that they are supposed to, how is it practical? Is it even practical? Is it? What is happening in Nakuru County? How many interns do we have in Nakuru County, for example? Do we have a number? How many interns? How many allocated? I know because on my way to Nakuru today, I passed through the Nevasha hospital, and I think we have, is it 8? But I'm told Nakuru PGH has about over 30. And I hope, Dr. Rose, I can't wait for you to get the mic, because I need you to respond to this. We need to have this conversation so that we know. And then, where is the problem of shortage of? Is it a short-term problem? We have to address this issue, because in as much as we are complaining about the working conditions, because at the end of the day, it boils down to availability of resources, we need to ask ourselves, who is responsible? Who is in charge of this problem? I want to remind you, Dr. Rotich, as well, and many other doctors here, that, and this is quite sad, in the suicide note for the late Dr. Mora, she also mentioned about the difficult working condition with the supervisor. And at this point, I want to ask the doctors here, what is the role of the superintendents? I mean, what is the role of especially older doctors in nurturing and taking care of the interns as well as they join the medical system? It is very important for us to just have this conversation. In as much as we know the government is struggling, could be out of omission or commission, but it is important for us to ensure that the healthcare system is running without being, without stopping, because we are talking about lives of people, we're talking about the health of people, and this is a very, very important factor. So I just want to know, who is managing this system? Who is responsible for the death of Dr. Mora?
Thank you, Chege. So I would not like to delve into the case of Mora and point fingers, but all I can say is that as a system, we let down that beautiful, hardworking young colleague of ours. And in the system, everyone has a responsibility. That's what I can say. If it's the medical superintendent, they should have played a role in protecting Mora and making sure that they get enough rest. If it's about the head of that department, they should have ensured that their intern gets sufficient rest. They should have ensured that the intern covers shifts that are humanly possible, 12-hour shifts, and then she rests for the other 12 hours. To subject someone to that 6 hours, I think that we will not blame the government, quite frankly. That one we'll have to blame ourselves as supervisors of our young colleagues. That one we have to take that blame. That we have failed to be our brothers and sisters' keeper. Then now, wholesomely, we look now at counties that are now refusing to employ doctors with a flimsy reason of insufficient finances. Or our budget has been exceeded and all that. So you have one medical officer, one intern, managing a very busy department. So everyone has a blame to carry in this case. When you go even higher to the Ministry of Health, why are they not paying these interns on time? Why are they not posting them in time? These interns waited for a whole year before being posted. Why? Why should they contemplate reducing their pay from 206 to 70,000, whereas there are existing structures clearly stating the amount of pay an intern is supposed to earn? These people are just, I don't know, they are responsible for what happened to Dr. Mora. The frustration was too much. The frustrations for her came from 360 degrees and all corners, and she could not handle it. She just imploded into herself and decided, let me give up. And if we are good people, ladies and gentlemen, we should not let this happen ever again. Thank you.
Doc, I mean, if we are good people, let me tell you, we cannot be soft with the government. We cannot wait for us to be good people. This is something that we must demand for. This is something that we must fight for. And at this point, I need to know who is in charge of medical interns, for example. Is it the national government or the county government? Mwananchi has to know. You know, the reason why we are doing spaces, the reason why there's so much civic education machinery going on in terms of whether it's poetry, what are influencers, TikToks, videos, comedians, the point is to carry the message home. And this is very, very important for us to know. We need to know who is in charge of medical interns. Is it the county government or the national government? And what is the role of the national government in healthcare? Because healthcare is a default unit under devolution. I'm sure Dr. Rose, Aki Jamani, surely, utakujaje upate mic. I really need to hear from you. I will really need to hear from the CEC of Health Nakuru County. She is here with us. And I'm trying to connect her. But as we do that, and as Dr. Rotich, you're trying to find the answers for the question I asked, I want to add another question. How long does it take for an intern to get a license? I mean, how long does it take for an intern to be absorbed, to be employed by the government? These are things we need to talk about. You have explained to us how interns get into the system. Now, explain to us how it works. How long do they wait to be paid? What are the usual arrangements you have locally? Because we are talking about Nakuru County, and I need to know, do they have accommodation? Because remember, our maintern pia wametoka ushago. Ni wale watoitu werevu. Smart girls, boys from the village. Hawana kakitu, wamesomeshwa na bursary. They have struggled to get to here, where they are, where the government is neglecting them. And they are seeing one of their own taking their own lives because of frustration from mismanagement of the system. We need to have this conversation so that we can change the future, so that we can save one more life of a medic. Dr. Rose, I've sent you another invite. I really need you here. The people want really to hear from you. And I think the future, you can say something as Dr. Rotich prepares to respond to this. And as a data analyst, Steve, kindly prepare for us, explain to us how much was allocated for Nakuru County in the last financial year, how much went into recurrent expenditure, how much went into development, and how much went into paying the medical health people in the health workers. We really need to have that discussion. The future, karibu.
Thank you so much. This make everyone, because this is a conversation we have to talk about all of us, because it's a critical thing. This is a basic need for human beings. Yeah? When you talk of the health sector, these are basic things whereby this must be the priority. The priority of the doctor, the priority of the citizen, and the priority of the facility. It comprises of three things, of which the government of the day has neglected all of it. When you see the facility, it's pathetic. When you see the working condition of the doctor, the welfare of the doctors, the nurses, it's another pathetic thing. So, what happened in our country now, we need everybody to be informed. want to do the civic education, we be informed about, because the taxes they're taxing us, they don't compromise. But in services rendering, they compromise. They say that there's no sufficient fund. And then when you see what they have done, I saw something about discrepancies and whatever about money they are squandering. When it comes to service rendering, doctors, they say there is no money. And they want to go to wherever they want, like England, like Tanzania, like wherever. They use billions of money. They use billions of money to travel outside benchmark. What's benchmark? So I'm very disappointed in that, me myself. And I see things happening like that, corruption everywhere. And we have doctors which can we take care of the welfare of the doctors? Because at long last, doctors are the one looking after the society. When you talk of the doctors, they are important in our society. When you talk of the nurses, those are the basic needs of our society. And that's why I give my condolences to the family, because I know the frustration they go through as a doctor or as a nurse through the, the course when they are in the service, the service rendering. So those are the issues whereby we need to make our government, we need to make our leaders to know. This is the point, the critical points, the critical side the government has to deal with. When it comes to health sector, you have to be very, very serious about it. And I want everybody, as a patriot of this country, to stand together, wherever they will be, to stand. Let the government use all the monies given to the sector. Because I've seen every day, when you look at from the devolution side, from 2013, 2014, 2015, up to 2022, we have now, 2024 now. There's allocation of money every. But when you see the allocation of those monies, and I am very sure everybody will study this one, they will allocate the same thing money. Why can't we progress? Because when you see all the facilities which are there from 2013, they are being allocated money. You allocate today. This governor came, Pinotia came, allocated the money to the same project. Lee came, allocated the same money to the same project. This is the same project, the one we have now, allocating the same. Are we not progressing? Are we not progressing in this country? Can we do one thing, finish? Can we finish one thing? And then we progress as a country. Because there's nothing continuing. Like I was studying something about health in our country. When you look at the now nurses, when you look at the doctors, when you will see the rate of employment, it is retrogressing instead of the other way around. They don't want to employ. They say we don't have funds. And then when you see all what is happening inside, because when you see the allocation of the money to health, it's always increasing by some percent. And then the services rendered inside there, it is opposite of what is happening. So everybody, can we start studying these things? Can we be informed everywhere? And more so, which I know it will be possible for everyone in this county. More so, this is what I want everybody. Can we be patriots and love each other so that unity is always power? If we don't unite, it will be imposed leaders, of which we are going the wrong direction. And I challenge everyone today. If we want a future, can we look for a leadership which look at the future? Can we look at for a leaders which feel the pain of our, whereby when you look again at the doctors and nurses, is another thing. The generation is becoming old. You are not passing the. It's like when you talk of anything dealing with the government, it is a pattern being passed on. So when you see the gap between the doctors which are there in the sector, they're becoming old, whereby there's a gap there's a gap somewhere. We are not, the employment sector is losing something. So the experience now is lacking there, because when you look at the law we have in our country, there are some issues which says we want such an experience in somebody to get this and this and this, and whereby it can apply. That's the old age. When you come to outside the countries, wherever, like where I am, there's nothing like that one, like saying you must have this experience. They put you inside and they train you. But in Kenya, wanaanza kusema atukuwe na 10 years experience, at you are 5-6 years experience. Where will you get it if you don't have that opportunity to serve? So those are the issues affecting our nation, especially medics. And we have to, it is us citizens to come out and say, this is what we don't want anymore. It is us to give direction. Because all of us we went to school to make, and when we went to school, tusiweke taa yetu chini ya meza, tuweke juu. Let's all of us shout, which is right is right. Because those are our rights. When you read in our constitution of our country, Kenya, we have the basic rights. Those are the rules which are given to everyone in our country. So, pole sana kwa hiyo familia, because alikuwa anatetea haki yake, she was frustrated, I know. Hiyo ni kasi yao, kasi yenye inafanyikana kwa most of our, hata polisi yenye anapitia, hata daktari huyu, hata mwalimu, because nimeshakuwa mwalimu. So the service delivery.
Okay, 1 minute.
They want from me.
Future, I'm saying you just finish up. You have 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you so much. Those are the issues you have to talk about, but I support the medics and we will stand by them, because we want the best for them so that they can deliver the best for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your remarks. In as much as you are saying you support the medics, but at the same time you're also saying I want to come a police. And okay. Sorry, Waziri, you're trying to call me. You had the mic on earlier. Kindly just drop it and then request, and then I'll be able to accept you back. Waziri, if you can hear me, kindly drop your mic and then request for another opportunity to speak. I can see we have Kio. Kio, you have something to say? Kio, I think David?
Hello.
All right, Kio, sawa, proceed.
Dennis,
I can hear you, Kio. Kio.
Sorry, let me speak.
Proceed.
Can you let me contribute a little later? In a few minutes, I've gotten some interaction.
Sawa, no worries. Sawa. David, if you can hear me, unmute your mic and proceed.
Yep, mine is just to give thanks kwa county kwa ile shughuli yenye nimeona ni kama wameanza kuendelea hapa hivi hosi hapa Gilo. Kulikuwa na building ilikuwa imesimama na tukaifaitia sana kama jenzi hapa Gilo, na tukaendaga bado tukavisit hiyo hosi, tulizaga maswali, wakatuambia reasons ya mbona hiyo building kwa imesimama, shida yenye ilikuwa na contractor, na tumeona effort ya the likes of akina guys wenye wamekuwa kipush kuhusu hosi ya Gilo. Acha tuseme ukweli, kama shughuli imefanyika ni safi, tunasema ni safi. Kama ni chafu wenyewe tunaambiana ni ukweli. Na sisi tumeona improvement. Hosi yetu at least tumeona ina run smoothly as of now. Na tumeona bado wameproceed, bado hiyo kurenovate hiyo building yenye ilikuwa imesimama. Yeah, that's all for today. Sina mengi. Asante kwa hiyo chance. Sikuwa ready, ndo nimeingia tu kidani. Acha nikata kwanza.
Sawa, asante sana David. Thank you for that. Asante. Dr. Steve, as you prepare to interject, I can see Waziri amepata mic finally. Karibu sana Waziri. I think if you're ready to say something, your opening remarks, kindly unmute. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Dennis. It's been a very difficult night with this connection. So I keep dropping, going and coming, but I've had most of the conversation. I want to thank you for inviting us to come here and dialogue with Visa Dialogue. We truly appreciate it. So I do not know whether you want me to go one by one the questions that have been asked and attempt to answer them, or how would you like me to proceed, Dr. Ngatia, or any other of the hosts?
Asante sana. Karibu sana Waziri. Thank you for always inviting accepting our invitation for this kind of conversations. We are glad that you take it positively. We are glad that you're one of the very few civil servants. Is it really civil servant? I don't even know whether you are a civil servant, but public servants ambao wako tayari kukutana na wananchi in whatever form and be able to respond to the queries. Karibu sana. Please hold on to the mic. Don't drop it. You will be there until we finish, probably, because tonight is your night. I can see my good friend Zuena, you have something to say. Karibu sana. As Daktari, I hope you remember the question I asked. How long does it take for medical interns to be absorbed?
Oh, yes. Let me break it down.
Yes, proceed.
Let me break it down very quickly. So internship is a 1-year post-medical school, let me call it attachment, where when a doctor graduates from the medical school after the 6 years, or 5 years for the pharmacists and dentists, wanakuja kwa a level 5 hospital or a level 6, mahali kuna specialists wenye watawafunza. So hii ndio wakati yenye watapata the practical experience ya what they have been learning. Kama ni kufanya for example cesarean section, ile ya kuzalisha wamama, watafunzwa na their seniors pole pole. So ya kwanza watasaidia, ya pili wasaidie nusu, ya tatu wafanye under watch. Then by the time they are doing kama kesi ya 10, they'll be confident enough to perform a cesarean section. So within that 1 year, watapata experience. Ndio sasa akija huku nje, anaweza kutibu mgonjwa yeyote. So Kenya huwa ni a fixed contract ya 1 year under the Ministry of Health. Kumbuka kwamba function ya training ilibaki katika Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health walibaki na training na policy making. The rest of the healthcare functions were devolved to counties. So these interns, however, hata kama wanalipwa na Ministry of Health, hizi hospitali ambayo wanafanyia hiyo internship ziko katika makaunti. So makaunti wanafaa tu kuwakaribisha, wawapatie mahali mzuri pa kulala kama kuna manyumba katika hospitali, na wahakikishe kwamba hao interns wamechungwa vizuri hiyo 1 year ambayo wanafanya hiyo internship. Kisha wakishamaliza internship, ndio sasa wanapata hiyo license ya kukua sasa daktari. Anaweza kufungua kliniki yake, anaweza kuandikwa kazi hapa Kenya and a few other countries in Africa. So kwa sasa when they clear the internship na wamepata license, serikali haina uwezo ya kuandika kila mtu kazi, hao interns wote. Hapo mbeleni all the doctors wenye walikuwa wanamaliza internship walikuwa wanakuwa posted to the various hospitals in the country. sababu madaktari walikuwa wachache, hivyo ndo wanasema. Lakini sasa manake wanasema madaktari wamekuwa wengi, haitoshei ama serikali hawana pesa ya kutosha kuandika hao interns wote. So daktari akishamaliza internship mpaka ajitafutie kazi either kwa private sector ama wale ambao wako na bahati na kuna vacancy kwa makaunti ndio sasa wanapata opportunities. But otherwise for now we do not have direct absorption of interns by the county governments or the national government. Natumai nimejibu maswali yako, Chege.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rotich, and thank you for informing us about that very important issue. Steve, Waziri is here and is ready to respond, but before Waziri speaks, Steve, do you have that breakdown? How much did we spend in our recurrent in the health department? How much went into salaries? How much went into development? How much have we spent? How is it looking? Do you have that data ready? Ama nipatie Waziri nafasi ya kwanza.
I do. I have it ready, and I've also included the data for the current year, which is broken down even better in more detail. But let me get started. Waziri, the county recurrent budget allocation for health for the financial year 2023-2024 was 6.3 billion. The expenditure for that year was 5.9 billion. However, there is recurrent pending bills. County recurrent pending bills of 1 billion. Now, this is significant because the health services for Nakuru account for 40% of total county expenditure. So my question is, those who don't get paid, those who are not getting paid, how soon do they get paid when they do? And these pending bills, what is the payment plan to ensure that it gets paid completely, that everyone gets paid, both the medical, those who are in health services and those who are not? That's question number one. Question number two, I had asked about the equipment. 48% of the total expenditure for health for the current financial year 2024-2025 goes to medical services and equipment. My question to you is, when this equipment is purchased, does it come with technical personnel, or are the personnel trained on site? That's one. Number two, that equipment, does it have a backup? In the event that it breaks down, what happens? What's the plan for servicing the various patients that need it? Yeah. Then the next question, the breakdown for the 2024-2025 salaries goes something like this. You find that the basic salaries, these are permanent employees, will get an allocation of 5.6 billion. Yeah, these are it says basic salaries for civil service. I am reading from the report from the Nakuru approved budget estimates financial year 2024-2025, page 109. Yeah, then the basic wages, these are temporary employees, they will be paid 378,478,000. Yeah. So my question is, where do the interns fall? Are they temporary? In that case, are they contractual or are they casual? And if they are casual, what happens with their pay? Yeah, how can it be speeded up, for example? so that we don't have a scenario like what happened with the good intern doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you for those very valid questions. Waziri is still, she was here earlier, but she's trying to reconnect. Waziri, don't worry, just hold on. I'm trying to get you back. Zuen, I don't know if you're ready, or Steve, pick the mic, whoever is ready.
Can I?
Yeah, Dennis, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, Dennis. You can hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dennis. And some of us might be laymen in all this, but I think we get to understand how everything affects us as the consumers of the health services. Now, Doctor, I think somebody said that you broke it down and gave us the responsibility of the county vis-a-vis the medical interns. And the word used, I remember, was county naye pia ichunge ma interns. I don't know what kuchunga here meant. If it meant kakitu kadogo or something like that, I don't know. Probably he might come back and explain it further. Dennis, I think the issue of the health workers, I think it has been a thorn in the flesh. And when these people are not taken care of course, the sufferers are the consumers of their services, the mwananchi. But equally, I just want to pass it here that be as it may, they have a role to play, and they need to play it well too. We have had private clinics strewn all over. Whoever controls it, or whoever takes care of which ones are legally there and which ones are not. I think as the consumers of some of the citizens, as citizens, we might not know which ones are legalized because we don't even go asking for licenses when you go for services. And that's why you find that most of them are strewn all over. When you go there, mtu ambaye unamuita tu daktari. You know, doctor, the word doctor has been used positively and very negatively. Some of the people who have set up these clinics might not be qualified to offer the services they pretend to offer. Some of them, ukiingia pale na kuambia ni daktari, unataka kuona daktari, you find the receptionist, kitu ya kwanza na kuambia na unataka kuona daktari. And that's why we find the quacks operating in disregard of the law. They are strewn all over. You go to like my place in the ward I stay in. My name is Steve Gituka, by the way. Shabab, you'll find clinics all over. I don't know who supervises these clinics. And then you find chemists all over. How valid they are is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Because you find the person even dispensing the drugs. No wonder there are so many cases of off-the-counter purchases of drugs, self-treatment. Mwananchi anasikia tumbo inamuuma, anaenda naambio meza omeprazole whatever. Ukienda hata siku hizi they don't ask for prescription. Ukisema nataka omeprazole unapewa. Nataka ampiclox. They just give you because after all it's about money. We have become a society of carefree people right from the top all the way down. We don't care what happens to our citizens. That one beside that, I would come to the same word Shabab. There's Nakuru West, I hope Waziri will answer this. There's Nakuru West Clinic. There has been a tug of war over the land that was initially meant for that clinic. That land was grabbed by a private developer. We have had cases in court. I remember even Swazuri, the chairman of Land Commission, came in and said the issue has been resolved. There is room for expansion for that clinic to kind of cater for people from the Nakuru West side, from the western side of the county. What is the county doing about taking this land back if they can repossess illegally war memorial, I think they can also repossess legally the Nakuru West clinic land, so that you can have room for expansion. You can have maternity. At least it will kind of offload a lot of weight from Nakuru Teaching Hospital. I think it can do that. Waziri, probably you can come if you have a time. You can answer that about Nakuru West. And again, I think this one, Waziri, I also thank you here because I remember I asked you a question about power generators that have been lying at the Nakuru level 4 hospital for storage. That's what he told me. They are meant for other health clinics. But I think I would come again and tell you that these generators have been there for over 1 year, some over 1 year. I mean, if there was need for purchase of these generators, it should be taken to the facilities they were meant for. And then for now, I can stop there. Probably might give me time, and then I can explain some bit of it on what I criticize. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you for your questions. I'm sure Waziri is here. Now she has a mic and she'll be able to respond. I'd like to hear from 2 people before Waziri responds. And as Waziri prepares to respond to the queries that have been raised, allow me to also bring something else. I don't know if it's premature, but we have to talk about SHIF, the new medical program. We have to talk about it because my area of concern is that this system basically gives a lot of load to county governments because county governments are the ones in charge of level 1 to level 5 hospitals. And SHIF has been planned and programmed. A lot of baggage is coming to counties. I don't know how well you are prepared, Dr. Rose, to handle the new system. I don't know how well you are equipped. I think that would be something of interest as well. And I'm sure Dr. Rotich wants to interject about that and tell us about how SHIF is. But before we forget our medical interns, like Dr. Rotich said, and I agree with him, is that as senior doctors, I think you play a very big role as well in guiding and shaping, in nurturing the newcomers. And from a very local point, let me give an example of maybe, for example, Naivasha Hospital, where we have about maybe 12 or 15 interns. I'm not sure how many. Daktari will confirm, Waziri will confirm. But assuming there are even 20, and they are going through these challenges. And some of these challenges are beyond what you can also explain to them, even as a superintendent of the hospital. I think it is important for us to remember the human factor. Let us come together as medics. You can come together, you can agree to even changia something per month, even 2 Gs as senior doctors. Msaidia our intern maze. Our say hawana fare, hawana food. Some of them hawana place ya kulala. Like in Naivasha, I know they don't have a place to sleep. Nakuru najua wako na place ya kulala, and Waziri is here, will confirm. But I'm just saying, even in other counties across the country, let us prepare them for the gloom that the industry and the government presents for them. Let us just prepare them for the worst. It is unfortunate we are doing this, but we have to do something as we prepare them to battle this, because it looks like this is a long battle. I don't see any light at this end of this tunnel. Maybe Daktari can show us some light as she prepares to respond to that. Keo Kinodia, you have something to say?
Yes, and probably it's actually good you've allowed me to say it before Waziri speaks. I've been in the telecommunication sector for a long time, and what I know is that vendors of systems and equipment always, as part of the sale, have a provision for training a number of staff for free for every purchaser. And if you want more than that trained, then you pay for the rest. And that training even sometimes includes abroad, sending them abroad where the equipment is coming from so that they can be trained. this is almost a standard practice with the large equipment vendors in all the industries. And I know in the previous regime, there was an issue about the managed equipment program where counties were saying that they were forced to have to take certain equipment when they were not ready, they were not involved, they were not consulted, but somehow they were forced to take them. And my expectation would have been that knowing that we've been forced, for instance, to have an MRI system which we are not ready for, then we would start preparing to get ready, to get personnel, to get a plan for spares and maintenance for them. So probably Waziri can update us on that, both those old equipment that came without consultation and the ones that they've been procuring, and why then there would be a situation where there is nobody who knows how to operate when the vendors themselves offer that training as part of the purchase package. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kio. And this brings me back to a previous question as I'd asked. What are the roles that were devolved? The government keeps saying that healthcare is devolved, but they still meddle. They are still right in the middle. They have their fingers right in the middle of the healthcare industry in Kenya. So we need to know, and I think Waziri, it's time for you to respond. Zuena, I think you'll come back after Waziri because amesema anataka at least ajibu maswali zisikuwe mingi sana, akose kujibu alafu tumlime. So Waziri, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, colleagues and friends. Let me go one by one and I'll try to be very efficient with my use of time. I think the first question that was asked was by someone who is well known to me because we've interacted on the matter of care for persons with disabilities. And he asked two specific questions. One was about a waiver process or a waiver mechanism. And the second he asked was about free medical care for persons living with disability. So let me confirm indeed that our level 5 hospital, the Nakuru County Referral and Teaching Hospital, does have a waiver mechanism. In fact, the Department of Health does not interfere with the waiver procedures of the hospital. The hospital has a committee, it has terms of reference, and it sits once a week. The hospital also utilizes the other cadres within the hospital, for example, the Department of Social Work, to ensure that any requests for waivers for purposes, for reasons of inability to meet medical bills are, what word shall I use? I don't use the word validated. We do some due diligence. Yes, appraised, but also we do some due diligence within the community. We do indeed waive quite a high number of bills at the hospital. In some instances, also at the advice of the Department of Social Work and the social work team, we do come up with a payment mechanism so that the client can go home or the patient can go home. We are very, very clear that the capability of the hospital in terms of the inpatient wards is far below the demand. The Nakuru County Referral and Teaching Hospital does not only take care of patients from Nakuru County. In fact, and my data may be wrong, but less than 48% of the inpatient clients at the hospital are from Nakuru. The rest come from outside Nakuru. So we are not in the we will not have an interest in keeping patients longer than they need to be within the hospital. Because as they stay there on that bed, we are denying another patient who really needs the bed, the capacity. So we try as much as possible to expedite the discharge process. But you see, we cannot just discharge without a mechanism. So I want to assure my colleague who asked that question that we do indeed have a waiver committee. And I want to welcome you to continue to engage with me in case there are any challenges that you face in that process. We're happy to engage with the leadership of the department of the hospital. The second question with regard to free medical care. Let us keep in mind that this is a level 5 hospital, which means it relies heavily on the resources that it generates itself. If we were to avail free medical services across board, honestly, we are going to cripple that hospital. And on that note, let me add something that nobody has asked, but let me just throw it out there for discussion now or at another time. That there are various sources of income for the hospital. One of the most critical ones, apart from the payments that you and I make at the hospital, because all of us are patients, are clients of that hospital, we have NHIF and we have Linda Mama. The reimbursement schedule or performance, both by Linda Mama and NHIF, has been very extremely suboptimal. What that means is that the hospital really struggles to provide optimal care, and we need to be honest about this. If I tell you right now that the hospital is owed cumulatively more than 400 million, you will not believe me, but that is the case. And we're happy to open up our books for you to look at that. So we do also want to have some core relationship, some core responsibility taking about the capability of our level 5 hospital. If we cannot enable our Margaret Kenyatta wing, which delivers an average of 100 babies a day, to benefit from the reimbursements that it is owed, then how do we expect the mothers to have food, to have a clean bed, to have nurses to take care of them, and to have medicine? However, having said that, we are still accommodating the mothers. We are still receiving them. We are still giving them food. Where are we getting the resources if Linda Mama is not reimbursing this money? It means we are pinching on from the other service delivery points. Can we also have a conversation about that? So let me move to the next question, which was about the increase in consultation fee. That will be answered by the point I've raised about the diminishing income of the hospital. Let us also keep in mind that this year we had a very long-standing strike from the medical office, from the doctors, from the clinical officers, to a certain extent from the cadre of laboratory technicians. What that meant for that season is that the income of the hospital was further diminished. We had to take that decision to increase that consultation fee, but we can have a conversation because, like you said, the host of the space, this is a dialogue that needs to be had. There was a question about rotation or shifts, and I am not sure whether my team from the hospital and from the department are here, but we truly do sympathize. And we have owned up severally to the incapacity of the county in terms of human resource to offer optimal services to the citizens for the reasons of understaffing. This is something that Her Excellency the Governor has talked about severally. This is what has happened consistently since the onset of devolution. We have interpreted, and I'm saying we, because we take responsibility for these decisions that we made since 2013. We have interpreted service delivery to mean brick and mortar, the putting up of facilities. But once you put up that hospital, it will take twice as much, again, the resources to equip it, and then part C, to provide human resource. So when we proliferate the county with facilities, and we haven't thought through how to equip them and how to staff them, then we are compromising service delivery. And so you'll keep hearing questions about why is it that this one is not operationalized, that one is not operationalized. But that is data, like my other colleague presented here data. What is it that this administration is doing? Number one, the governor has made a public declaration that she is committed to operationalizing all the facilities, and I mean all, that were put up by the previous two administrations. As a result, you have seen progressive opening of dispensaries and health centers. In August, I believe we opened 8 outpatient, I think 7 dispensaries and 1 health center in Bahati Gedioro Health Center. We are not done with it. Even the staff that we have placed in those facilities are not enough, but we continue to do it incrementally. It is a decision that we are making, that we're going to ring fence the resources that are allocated, like my brother said, for human resource. Part D of that issue is we must revert to proper human resource procedures. The responsibility for the recruitment and management of staff cannot be that of our hospitals. But what we have done over the last few years is because we have not been recruiting. Remember I said we've been investing in equipment, in putting up facilities. So what we have done is we have failed to progressively recruit staff. Had we been recruiting as it is required, we would not be where we are today. So as a result of that, a hospital like the Nakuru County Referral and Teaching Hospital knows the number of service delivery points it has. What to do? Do you sit back and watch the service delivery diminishing? No. You increasingly allocate resources out of your OSR, the own source revenue, the Facility Improvement Fund, for human resource. What that means is that you have taken away from the core mandate of the hospital, which is service delivery. If you're spending over 30% or 25%, in some level 4 facilities, 75, even 90% of your income on human resource, how much money is left for drugs? How much money is left to buy linen? How much money is left for maintenance? And you talked about equipment. That is a conundrum we are in. But what we are trying to do, and we are so committed to doing this, is to ring fence the human resource budget within the department so that every year we incrementally identify a priority list. We discuss that priority list with the union, and we recruit and we deploy. In the long run, we will have gap filled. This other thing that we must do, and this is an issue, is an aspect of motivation.